Hey everybody, Tim here with tonight's episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 4, Episode 8, Future Imperfect. I have like half a page of notes. This episode is insane. So usually I don't care for episodes like this where you're kind of watching it and then you get to the end and it's like, psych, the whole thing was a dream and you just wasted the last hour of your life. Or, stuff like this is pretty obvious from the beginning that it's not quite right. But usually, I don't know, the conspiracy episodes just aren't really my thing. This one, on the other hand, is kind of interesting, just because I like future, premonition stuff. So, the episode starts with Riker, Worf, and Geordi, and they beam down to a planet. And when they beam out of it, Geordi and Worf come out just fine, but Riker doesn't. It turns out that while he was on this, or so we think, when he was on the planet, he inherited a virus that ends up in the future wiping out 16 years of his memory. So already you're like, okay, clearly this isn't true, but it's an interesting concept. So he wakes up and he's trying to figure things out. At this point, he is a captain of the Enterprise. He has a son named Jean-Luc. Speaking of which, Picard is an admiral and he's aboard a Romulan vessel, which is kind of interesting. Andreas Katsulas, the actor that plays Jakar in Babylon 5, now makes his third appearance, this time as Ambassador Tomalek. So a lot of stuff has changed in 16 years, which, by the way, I want to stop right there real quick. I got a little ahead of myself. So Star Trek tends to age in real time with us. So if they ever say, oh, this happened 3 years ago, you can count back the seasons, and you're like, oh, they're actually pretty right. So at this point, when this episode came on, 16 years in the future would actually be about 4 years after Nemesis. So just to kind of give you where they thought they would be and what they look like to what they actually do look like. So just kind of keep in mind. Some of the premonition stuff that I did think was interesting. So this is the first time that we see Nurse Alyssa, Beverly's sidekick, her nurse. So she does become a regular cast member. She's not named in this episode, but for those who have watched the series before, you'll recognize her. We see another Klingon on aboard the Enterprise in the Federation. To me, she looked half Klingon, kind of like Worf's significant other, but I couldn't quite tell. Either way, that's interesting because when we get to Voyager, B'Elanna is half Klingon, half human. So a little premonition there. And then the helmsman is a Ferengi, and a Ferengi ensign that Riker even comments. He's like, I can accept this, but I can't accept that. When we get to Deep Space Nine, we see Ferengi join the Federation. So again, a lot of little interesting things happen here and there. Data is the commander. So if it's Captain Riker, he is Commander Data at this point. And that's kind of interesting because now we've seen Data in red. So we've seen him gold and red. So all we gotta do is see him in blue and he hits all three. Let's see. Like I said, I got so many notes for this one. So Riker is in this future dreamland. And the thing that kind of bugged me about it is the way he realizes he's in a dream is his so-called son plays a video of his mom. And it goes back to season 2. The mom is Minuet from the 11001001 episode, the hologram. So, and that kind of snaps Riker out of it. Wait a minute, she wasn't real, so how is she your mom? And then from there he wakes up, and it turns out that Tomalek has been doing all of this to him with some Romulan mind control. And Jean-Luc is actually a real boy named Ethan. So now we've gone almost to Inception, where he woke up from his dream and now he's awake on the planet. But wait, no, he realizes that that's a dream as well. So at this point, I'm starting to fall out of this episode. I'm like, oh God, seriously? Why? Why do we have dreams and dreams? We finally get to the end, and it turns out that this little boy is actually an alien who has created these basically holographic, telepathic images to keep himself entertained, because his mom told him she'd be back for him, but she gets killed in a war. The whole ending just gets tied up a little too neatly for my taste, but all of the future premonition stuff I really liked, and I really enjoyed kind of seeing what they thought the future would look like, not knowing that they would actually surpass this. So I really enjoyed it. Like, this is a give and take episode. For those who have seen this one, what did you guys think about it? Did you like the future stuff? At the time this came on, for those who actually remember it airing, did you ever think like, oh, that's never going to happen? Just to see it, like, pretty much some of it does, some of it doesn't. Go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for everything, and I will see you guys next time for the very sad episode, The Final Mission.